Good morning, everybody. Got a good show for you today. I got a little warning for you. You're going to need your mobile cussing pond cup today. It may get a little bit spicy, a little not safe for work. That's your warning ahead of time. We may get a little bit brusque today. So without further ado, let's do this. Good morning, everybody. Start off today. We got old Dr. Feelgood. Dr. Ronnie Jackson's got himself in a crack. Got the House Ethics Committee that said that they're going to go ahead and open up an investigation. They've been doing a preliminary investigation of some allegations made. And they put a pretty it's an uninformative statement out. U.S. House of Representatives Committee on Ethics, statement of the chairman and ranking member of the Committee on Ethics regarding Representative Ronnie Jackson. Pursuant to, and forgive my voice, I'm getting over this cold, but I still got a little touch of it, so forgive me. Pursuant to House Rule 11, clause blah, 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 blah. They don't tell you. They just don't tell you what it's about. Leaves us questioning, what is this ethics complaint about? Happy Friday. We made it, Marcia. We made it. Is the ethics complaint about the fact that he was found to have been drinking on duty, taking sleeping pills on duty, that he had been abusive in towards his female subordinates, that he'd gone to one of his subordinates' hotel rooms in the middle of the night, drunk, and told her that he wanted her to come back to his hotel room with him? Is it that? No. Is it that he's told another female subordinate that she had nice tits? No, that ain't it. How about he told a female subordinate that she had a nice ass? No, that ain't it. That's what got him busted down from the rank of rear admiral to captain. And you folks that have served, I've got a family member that's a coastie. He was a captain, had his own boat. Do you folks that have served, do these doctors' ranks bother you like they bother me? I mean, I know I didn't serve. I wasn't in the military, but really, do these doctors rank? I mean, a rear admiral? Really? Ronnie Jackson was a rear admiral? For what? You know what a rear admiral does in the Navy? They run a carrier group in combat. I get the military has to give pay and perks to bring in professionals. I get that. I totally get that. Nope, that's not what we're talking about. That's not what we're talking. Susan Peterson says pushing pills at the wall. Nope. That's not what this ethics complaint is about. But I just want to go on my rant about ranks for a minute. Should a doctor hold the same rank as somebody running a carrier or a carrier group? No, hell no. Hell no. They've got to do something, like you've got warrant officers in the Army. They got to reform those systems so that you've got non-combat ranks so that you can give them the pay and the perks to attract I don't know. That's my feeling. You folks that have served, live chat, get at it. Tell me what how you feel about that, but that's something that's always bothered me. But is the ethics complaint about the fact that Ronnie Jackson, despite having been busted down from rear admiral to captain, which still just sticks in my craw, because, you know, a captain runs a boat in the Navy in combat. No. Anyways, they busted him down to captain, showed him the door. That's what all that behavior got him. But is the ethics complaint that he still, despite the fact that he got busted down in rank, and again, you folks that served, I have a question about this, still refers to himself on his page today. You can go to his X-Chan page, which is this right here, exactly what I'm showing, and it still says retired Navy Rear Admiral, despite the fact that they busted him down in rank. I thought that was kind of a big deal. You didn't get to claim rank you didn't own. Yet here he is. I mean, you folks that served, I mean, isn't that kind of a big deal? I mean, if you get busted down from sergeant to private, or you don't still get to run around and call yourself a sergeant, right? Well, there he is. Is that what the ethics complaint is about? No, that's not it. I mean, you know, granted, even if it was an ethics complaint, he could, you know, let's say hypothetically he had a Grindr account that he called himself the Rear Admiral. You know, then I guess he could post it or something. And I'm not saying he's got a Grindr account under the name Rear Admiral. Just hypothetically throwing that out there. You believe that's going to come back later on in the show? It is. Is it that he was drunk, accused of being drunk at a rodeo, interfering with the treatment of somebody that was having a medical crisis, and the police were telling him to get back, and he swears he wasn't drinking there, but that officer right there has said, I saw him drinking. I saw him. They ended up throwing him on the ground, handcuffed him. He is cussing those officers left and right. Video of it, if you want to go watch the video, I don't feel like it. Giving them the old "don't you know who I am" speech. Thank you, Katie Carroll. Giving them the "don't you know who I..." There you go, Kissy Cat. Yeah. Do you know who I am? I'm going to have your job in the morning. I'm going to call the governor. Is that what this ethics complaint is about? No, it's not. This is what the ethics complaint is about. And I don't mean to make light of it. It is a big deal. U.S. House Ethics Committee to review Ronnie Jackson's potential misuse of campaign funds. I mean, that's kind of a big deal. I mean, that is kind of a big deal. Don't get me wrong. When they say misuse of campaign funds, what they're talking about is, well, you didn't think old Dr. Feelgood went to Burger King with the rest of us great unwashed, do you? You don't think he ate down at the local burger joint, local barbecue joint? Oh, hell no. See, his account, his campaign, Texans for Ronnie Jackson, bought a membership at the Amarillo Club. Pretty nice looking place, huh? Nice view. Pretty nice place, huh? And they put quite a few bills out of there as well. And that's a no-no. In a campaign, you can rent a venue for something, but you cannot pay for personal memberships. And I wonder what old Rear Admiral, I wonder what he likes so much about this club. I mean, do you think maybe it's, I don't know, the strawberry bruschetta, the tuna poke lettuce wraps? I mean, what is it do you think that Dr. Feelgood likes about the Amarillo Club? Don't bother guessing, you're going to get it wrong. I'm about to piss off a lot of people. I've got friends in DC. I do. And I've told you before, these people make $174,000 a year plus benefits, medical, travel. And I always follow that up with other perks. We're about to do some inside baseball on one of the other perks. And grab your coffee cup. You're going to need it. This is going to piss you off. In a word, the reason Ronnie Jackson is going to get away with this is one word: reciprocity. Reciprocity. This is a big deal on Capitol Hill. You know, you get somebody like Lauren Boebert that's never really tasted the good life, and you run them through this system I'm about to explain to you, and yeah, they'll do anything for you. Anna Paulina Luna, they'll do anything for you. And the important key thing to pay attention to here is reciprocity. See, in these clubs, when Ronnie Jackson became a member of the Amarillo Club, he didn't just get access to the Amarillo Club. Oh, no. See, they have reciprocity agreements with clubs all over the country. Which means that if you're a member of the Amarillo Club and you want to go to, I don't know, just a hypothetical. Let's just throw a hypothetical out there. And let's say you got a grinder date as the Rear Admiral, and you meet a guy up in New York, and y'all want to go have a nice, quiet dinner somewhere. Let's say you want to go to the Park Avenue Club. You want to sneak out of the city and go to the Park Avenue Club and have dinner. Well, the Park Avenue Club has a reciprocity agreement with the Amarillo Club, which means that you can call your man at the Amarillo Club, tell him I'm going to be in New York. I need to get into the Park Avenue Club. And they'll make the arrangements for you. Nice place, huh? And most of these clubs, depending on who you are, and this is important, folks, I really want you to know, even in these places, there are tiers as to how you're treated. These places don't have standard dues. Let's say you're Mr. Used Car Salesman, and you finally built up a few lots and you put a couple $1 million in the bank, and you want to hobnob. You want to get out there and rub shoulders with the rich folks in your neighborhood and in your neck of the woods. Well, your dues to get into the Amarillo Club aren't going to be the same as, say, I don't know, Ronnie Jackson. And the way you're treated when you want to use the reciprocity system is going to be very different. You know, if you're Mr. Nouveau Riche guy, and you call your Amarillo Club and say, "Hey, you know what? I'm gonna be somewhere. Let's take a look at the list of somewheres." This is a partial list. There's over 300 clubs involved in the reciprocity program that the Amarillo Club is part of. This is just a small list around the country. Petroleum Club of Anchorage, the Georgian Club, the Pinnacle Club, the University Club of Boston, the let's see, the Embassy Club, the Park Avenue Club we just looked at, the Fort Worth Club, the Fort Wayne Country Club. You think maybe Mike Pence might be a member of the Fort Wayne Country Club. Because we're going somewhere with this, folks. Because if you get down on the list and keep going down, there's a lot of nice places here, but then there's one that sticks out. The Capitol Hill Club. And I couldn't leave that one up. I've got to pull it up now because it runs continuously. Let me pull that up for you. The Capitol Hill Club. What is that? It's the Republicans' private club in D.C. Yeah, nice place, huh? National Social Clubs for Republicans, founded in 1950. So yeah, if you're in Des Moines, Iowa, or Amarillo, Texas, and you don't want it to be on your books that you're a member of a swanky club like the Capitol Hill Club in D.C., well, you just join the Amarillo Club. And whenever you want a nice dinner, you just call up and say, I'm Congressman Feelgood. I am the Rear Admiral. And you just show up. And they take care of you. And most of these clubs will even do things like they'll bill your club so that the bills don't even show up. And these aren't just dinner clubs, folks. There are gyms, there are showers. These things cost a lot of money. And you can't pay for them with your campaign finances. It's not what it's for. So yeah, people don't understand why I get pissed off when I see these Republicans and they're not doing a damn thing. They're just chase the shiny object. Just let's talk about some crazy, weird crap instead of doing our damn job. Yeah, folks, they're out living the high life. They're not at McDonald's with you and me. Oh no. They don't have to associate with us. I mean, you think old Dr. Feelgood is a man of the people? He will not even break bread with you. He's in his own private, exclusive supper clubs. So he doesn't even have to see you. Those are the kind of perks. And that's not, and believe me, this is just one. This is just one. When I talk about and other perks, it's good to be a congressman. It is good to be a congressman. Yes, ma'am. We found out about that, didn't we? Heidi Fleiss and whatnot. The real estate deals that they get, you and I, it would cost us, a couple $1 million to pick up a place in D.C. If you're a congressman, especially one on the right committee, well, hell, you'll get somebody that rents you a place for a few bucks a month. You can live in the nicest neighborhoods in D.C. It is good to be a congressman. It is. So it should just infuriate you when you see them play these stupid, idiotic games. I want you to put a pin in that. Next subject we're going to talk about is Trump. Trump had a little shindig about a week and a half ago at Mar-a-Lago. It's for oil execs. And he had the most blunt conversation. They were shocked. These people who are never shocked were shocked. Trump told them, you will give me $1 billion for my campaign. That's what you are here for, to give me $1 billion. Get to work. You know, his campaign's been in the doldrums as far as fundraising is concerned. Katie Carroll, good comment. Republicans are unable to do their jobs. Either they are too uneducated or too corrupt or too power hungry to do things. You know, let me address that, Katie. Let me address that. I want you to think about that. I want you to think about, I don't know, pick one. Lauren Boebert, Anna Paulina Luna. Those two have never, ever in their lives tasted the good life. They've never lived in a place. Let me show you where the Amarillo Club is. Let me show you. Let me pull up a picture of it. Won't take me but a second. I want you to see this. Let me try to find one that's give you an idea. A lot of pictures here. Here we go. This will give you an idea. Oh, so blurry. That's all right. It'll give you an idea what I'm talking about. This is the Chase Bank building in Amarillo. If you leave Fort Worth, Marcia, hi. If you leave Fort Worth and you start going to Denver, the tallest building you will run into between Fort Worth and Denver is the Chase Bank building. It's this building. And you see the arcs at the top. I know this is a little blurry. You have to forgive me. But you see this arched area on the top? That's the Amarillo Club, folks. That's the Amarillo Club. And if you're somebody like a Lauren Boebert, one of these people that have never tasted the good life, or you're a Dr. Feelgood, the Rear Admiral, and you've been busted out of the Navy, busted in rank, nobody has to, give you any respect anymore because you've humiliated yourself. Being brought into these clubs is pretty powerful. Yes, they are. You don't like my music. So these clubs are often in large bank buildings and petroleum centers, petroleum buildings. You're funny. You're funny. She goes every day and that. But yeah, folks, congressmen can hear you a lot better over the tartar at their private club. They just can't. Jeanette also, isn't something about a married couple from Texas, something bad is involved? I don't know what you're talking about there, Jeanette. We'll figure it out. But yeah, that is a big freaking deal. To use campaign funds to pay for one of these memberships where you could go to a private gym there, you could take private showers, you could be, have the finest meals, yada, yada, yada. That's, it's access, folks. It's access. It's one of the perks that gives access, along with the trips, the fact-finding trips that always end up in beautiful locations. This is real, okay? This is really happening in your government, and Republicans are the worst about it because not only are they getting this largesse, they're doing nothing. They're doing nothing in return. I don't know about you folks. I'm just keeping it real here. Just keeping it real. I would not be pissed off at somebody getting a little gravy on their plate if they were doing their fucking job. If they weren't playing games. And folks, if you think this pisses you off just talking about it straight out of the blue, wait for the rest of the show. We're going somewhere. There's more to this. Then you've got Trump. Okay, let me tell you something, folks, about the oil industry. The word enough does not exist for the oil industry. It just doesn't. They're at Exxon, Chevron, just every and a dozen other massive energy companies that you've never even heard of, EQT and things like that. People, just companies you have never heard of, are sitting at Mar-a-Lago. Trump bluntly tells them, "Come up with $1 billion for me and my campaign. In return, I'm going to cut your taxes even more." Right now, the oil industry, let me give you an idea how the oil industry is doing. Exxon had set a record back in 2008 with $45.2 billion in profit. Last year, under Joe Biden, they broke that, smashed it, destroyed it. $55.7 billion in profit. No nation on earth has ever produced more oil than the United States is producing right now, ever in our history. And it's not enough. It's not enough. Trump promised them, "I will give you tax cuts. I will roll back every Biden administration regulation ever put on you." And the Biden administration has a policy. It's called use it or lose it. Oil companies would sit on leases, and it gave them power to manipulate the markets. They would sit on leases. The Biden administration has a use it or lose it policy. If you're not using your leases, we will take them away. Trump promises we're going back to that. We're going back. All you got to do is give me $1 billion. Give me money. And he just said it as clearly as that. Didn't candy coat it. Executives are reporting to the press. They were shocked at how blunt he was. Didn't tap dance around it at all. Give me $1 billion for my campaign. I'm getting killed. We're going to see if they do it. We're going to see if they do it. I mean, right in your face, people. Right in your face. They don't even feel like they have to pretend anymore. They're going to cut back environmental regulations. They're going to cut taxes. They're going to make companies that are making record profits. They're going to just flat out bribe them in return for bribes, just favors for bribes. And they don't feel like they have to hide it at all anymore. Put a pin in that. Put a pin in that. And it gets worse, folks, with what's going on. We've talked about the 2025 initiative. They are very much wrapping the churches up into the whole 2025 initiative. They are. We're going to talk about some propaganda now. And we're going to talk about Putin. Because Putin absolutely wants Trump. He's doing everything he can to help Trump. He is. We're going to talk about a few different stories, starting with Trump and the oil industry, because right now Putin, his oil industry is in the doldrums. Putin is widely believed to be the wealthiest man on the face of the planet, and that is saying something, folks. You're talking about wealthier than the Sultan of Brunei, because he takes a taste out of everything, all the resources they rape out of Russia. Putin wants Trump back. If Trump will sit there in front of everybody, knowing there's no privacy, and tell these people, you will give me $1 billion and I'm going to give you everything you ever wanted and then some. What do you think Trump's going to do for Putin? Anyway, 2025 project. They're using Christian nationalism. They are using Christian nationalism. They're running it through the churches, folks. And let me tell you how bad it's getting. Let me play this video for you. Let me play this video. This is William Wolf, the guy you probably don't know much about, but he is a darling on the right, man. He is a darling on the right. And this is what he's telling the folks.
Justice is the work of peace, then our only business. No, in such a time, even the God of peace proclaims by his providence to arms. And if we have ever lived in a point in time in American history since then that we could argue that now is a time to arms again, I think we are getting close. Now, Davies sets that out and says that it is right, even though as Christians we seek peace, that when the enemy is pressed upon us, if we fail to heed the call to arms, then we are acting as cowards.
Folks, he's talking about our election. He's talking about civil war here in the United States. He's talking about God wants you to take up arms for Donald Trump. That's what he's saying here, folks. That's what he's saying here. And Katie Carroll, that was a great question. I saw it. Do I think they're going to give it to him? I think they're going to give him most of it. I do. I think they're going to give him most of it. Because the word enough does not exist in the oil and gas industry. There is never enough, ever. That word just does not exist. Let's listen to that one more time. Think about the 2025 project, folks. This guy is partnered with the guy that's running the 2025 project religious initiative. Listen to what he says.
Justice is the work of peace, then our only business. No, in such a time, even the God of peace proclaims by his providence to arms. And if we have ever lived in a point in time in American history since then that we could argue that now is a time to arms again, I
want to pause it right there. What the fuck are you talking about? You have never been freer in your life. The economy has never been better. We're literally leading the world. Our economy, it's not braggadocio, that's not American exceptionalism. It's just numbers. It's just fucking math. What do you mean if there's ever been a time for the go to fucking church, man? He's calling for a holy war right here in the United States of America. At the best of times. Yeah, Mom to Huskies, January 6, 2.0. Yeah, the Beer Hall Putsch was January 6. They want a better one now. And they're asking folks, they're already telling people the election's stolen. It's rigged. Haven't even had the freaking election yet, and it's already rigged. And you have to be ready for violence. You forgive my saltiness, but I know this is too much. Too much. And it's not just here, folks. And yes, this is Putin. Putin's learned, use the churches. He uses the churches in Russia just like this. And he's doing it here. Put a pin in that. This is Germany, folks. This is Germany. May 2nd, the Soviets rolled into Berlin. And we know what happened next. Built a big wall around it, barbed wire, shot anybody that tried to leave. They're rewriting that history. The Russians never sleep, and this is free. You can do this. Like Hal Sparks says, you never run out of these bullets. I want you to look at this. They're laying flowers at a monument to Russian Soviet soldiers for their liberation of Berlin. They are saying that the Soviets, well, they unilaterally withdrew in the 90s. It's the Americans that never left us alone. It's the Americans causing the problem. And it's the Jews. The Jews, we're going to get to that in a minute. Now, granted, this is not 5,000 people. This is not 10,000 people. This is just a handful of numbskulls. And here's another bunch. This is in Frankfurt. I want you to see this is in Frankfurt, celebrating the liberation of Berlin, of Germany by the Soviets. These are Russians living in Germany. Hold on. I got to turn the sound off. I'm going to end up with a damn copyright strike. Folks, they're rewriting history. They are rewriting history. We know what happened. We know what happened during World War II. We know what happened after World War II. We know what the Soviets did. We know they fucking shot you if you tried to leave. Literally built walls, held them in like cattle with guard towers, machine guns. And these people are rewriting history. Rewriting history. I want you to listen to this. Putin is behind that. Putin is also behind this. This is a bunch of German hipsters. Well put here. Geopolitical kid, good follow. I haven't found any misinformation from him yet. So here we go. These are kids in Germany. I want you to listen very carefully. It's in German, but there's one word that's going to jump out at you. It's the same in German as it is in English. I want you to listen to what these kids say. You got it where you can hear? Here we go. Listen. What was that word? What are these kids calling for in Germany? Here we go. Listen. Let me tell you something, folks. Let me pause that right there. Intifada, yes, that's exactly what they're calling for. In Germany, they're calling for Intifada. Listen to me, folks. The people in Russia, they're just people. They're just people. but they're people that are subjected to only the information that Russia wants them to hear. Very little outside information gets in there. So they're going to react to that. Their point of view is going to come from that perspective. The Palestinian people, their information is controlled by Hamas. They're just people. They're just people. But they're going to come at you from that perspective. It's all of us. It's all of us. That's why the freedom of information is so important. These kids you're seeing in Germany, I'll play that video again here in just a second. These kids you're seeing in Germany, that's the information bubble they're in. They're calling for intifada. They are. In Germany, I want you to think about their lives. They're in a first world European nation, safe as safe can be. They don't really understand the entirety of the situation. And they're calling for intifada. One more time. Just to drive the point home. Intifada means uprising. It literally translates to shake off. Folks, I have supported Palestine for years. I did not jump on this bandwagon because I am telling you, Putin is behind that. There's tons of misinformation in that movement. There's tons of misinformation in that movement. And it's got kids in Germany calling for intifada. Putin is there. He has no ideology, folks. He has no dog in that fight at all. And if you don't believe me, just do a search for Russian bots, Palestinian misinformation. And I'm not picking on the Palestinians, folks. They're just people trying to live their lives. But everybody responds to the information they have. This is a Google search for Russian bots, Palestinian misinformation. Ignore the YouTube. That's from France 24. They've got an article down here. Politico EU. Putin hijacks Israeli-Gaza war. Reddit. Ignore Reddit. That's just everybody giving their opinion. New York Times in a world war of words. Russia, China, and Iran. Misinformation as they're going with it. Gaza is now the front line of a global information war. Misinformation, the Israelis and Hamas war. That's Wikipedia. Ignore that. Kyiv Post. Russian propaganda campaign exploits war in Gaza. Euronews video how a Russian online campaign is exploding, yada, on and on and on. Go keep scrolling down till you find one you trust. BBC, who's behind Israeli Gaza disinformation and hate online? Putin. Put a pin in that. And I'm telling you, you can scroll down. AP, Israeli-Hamas war. Here are facts on misinformation. Russia 2024 election interference has already begun. Yada, 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 yada. On and on. You can scroll down till you can find a source that you like and trust and read it for yourselves, folks. I am telling you, Putin is behind the misinformation in that movement. Put a pin in that. You remember this guy. This is Geert Wilders. Not pronounced Wilders like we say Gene Wilder. It's Geert Wilders. From the Netherlands, the Dutch. Shock election. Everything else was moving left. All of a sudden, boom, out of the blue, the Netherlands elect. This guy wins. They didn't elect him. He was not how parliaments work. But his party cleaned up. And what did he run on? He's Greg Abbott, man. He's like if you took Trump and Greg Abbott and squished them together. Anti-immigration, anti-Islam, all Europe is seeing the same exact propaganda right now that we are here. I guarantee you, I will go down. I'll do a search for you right now for Greg Abbott's Twitter, and I guarantee you today he said something about immigration. Hold on. I haven't even looked. I'm just searching right now for Greg Abbott's page. Yep. 1 hour ago, Greg Abbott. Last year, I signed a law to prosecute fentanyl deaths as murder. Countless Texans have lost their lives because of fentanyl poisoning. Texas will hold accountable all criminals who poison innocent Texans. Talking about drug dealing over the border. Every day. That's what Geert Wilders did. That's why the Republicans are doing this. They're just making shit up wholesale. They watched what happened in the Netherlands. But you know what? Kudos to the Netherlands. See, it's not like here. We have an election and we just deal with that election for 4 years. Not like that in a parliamentary system. There are multiple parties. Geert Wilders could not become prime minister without forming a coalition. And the Dutch said, screw you. We will not do it. You will not be prime minister ever. Ever. His coalition, they sat down with him and said, look, no. We will call for snap elections. We will have a do-over before we make you prime minister. Not going to happen. He is furious, folks, but kudos to the Dutch for doing the right thing. That man is sick. He is sick. He is like Greg Abbott on steroids. Imagine Greg Abbott without a filter. Same exact campaign now. And kudos to the Dutch for saying, screw you, we're not doing it. He will not be prime minister. He's going back to parliament. He fell on his sword, folks. It's not all good news. He fell on his sword to save his party. See, if he'd insisted on trying to become prime minister and force snap elections, he'd lost. People were disgusted by the fact that they won so many seats. By falling on his sword and saying, okay, fine, I won't be prime minister, we'll form a deal, his party holds those seats until the next election. And it buys them time. On that note, put a pin in that, because Putin supports Geert Wilders. On one end, he's supporting. Let's stop for a second. I want to be clear on this. I don't want to have too many thoughts in my brain so that I don't get a clear thought out my mouth. Let's stop for a second and let me paint for you where I'm going. The bigots are supported by Putin. His bots, his misinformation online. You notice this. This next guy I'm about to introduce you to. This is his X page, Twitter page, his Twitter page. It is full of Russian bots and misinformation and attacks. You've seen it. And that's free. You don't need to pay for ammunition on that. It's free. Or damn near free. Iran backs Hamas and Hezbollah. Iran isn't standing against the might of Europe and the United States alone. They've got the Russian bear behind them. Putin is on that side. Putin is also behind Meloni in Italy, the anti-immigration bigot. Greg Abbott and the Republicans here are supported by Putin and his misinformation and his bots. He is on both sides of this issue, the bigots and the abused. Folks, there's a reason Putin went to North Africa. We had a show before where we talked about Sudan and all the tragedies. He went to North Africa, rounded up a bunch of North Africans, the darker the better, and went to Syria and rounded up a bunch of Arabs, the darker the better, shipped them to Belarus and Russia, and then led them across the border to Finland. Caravans. He just did that. Google it, folks. He just did that. Why? There's not a lot of people in Finland, folks. You don't have to influence a lot of people. The population isn't anywhere near the size of the United States, folks. So if you think the caravans are a problem here, wait till you see what happens in Finland. And there are right-wing politicians in Finland that are on message. Anti-immigration. Them brown people are coming. Bringing them drugs and violence. Same story, but in Finnish. Same exact story. And who's behind it? Putin. Putin. He backs the bigots. Thank you for the support, Raymond. I appreciate you. He backs the bigots and he backs the abused. Folks, this is Mads Palsvik. Moving on to our Danish people. I'm coming. I'm coming, folks. I am coming. Folks, I know we've got some good people here from Denmark in the audience. I need you to explain this. This guy is not mainstream. He's not mainstream, but neither was Geert Wilders. I mean, we have to get militant here, folks. This is Mads Palsvik. Let me explain to you who this guy is, okay? Mads Palsvik, Holocaust denier, rabidly anti-Jewish, rabidly, okay? Just this post alone, while zero evidence of German wishes, and he posts like crazy on X, folks. This is his X page, Elon Musk's X. He's talking to the right wing, folks. This is why this is in English. This is for Republican bigots. Whilst zero evidence of German wishes to exterminate the Jews exists, there are numerous examples of Largists, Largists would be Jews, hell-bent on genociding Germans, Christians, and all white non-Jewish people. Really time to stop the evil Largists. And then he went and found some books that are stupid freaking books and holds them up as an example of this is what all Jews think. This is his X page. That's his post. This is his X page. His pinned comment is the CIA coup d'etat in the USSR. Apparently, we destroyed the USSR, not their own ridiculous economy and their bloated military budgets spending themselves into oblivion. He says, QAnon level crap here. The CIA formulated a coup and destroyed Russia. And then here's Putin comes in and look, Russia takes off again. Putin's a hero. Guess who Putin supports in Denmark? And it gets way worse. Hitler and the Rothschilds. I mean, all of the conspiracies, they're all here. He keeps listing these same books over and over, just some shitty books, but that's all Jews now. And he elevates this is one of my favorites right here. I want you to look at this, okay? Jewish Eisenhower, half-Jew Churchill, and de Gaulle don't mention Holocaust or the 6 Mio figure once in a combined 7,000 pages. It's just denying the Holocaust, folks. He says Eisenhower was a Jew. Eisenhower was not a Jew. He was born here in Texas. He was born to a Mennonite family here in Denison, Texas. I happen to know a little bit about it. I've been to Eisenhower's home. He was so fond of Gettysburg that he actually bought a piece of property that borders the Gettysburg Park. It's really, if you ever go to Gettysburg, take time to go to Eisenhower's home. You learn a lot about the man. You really do. I went, he was fellow Texan. A lot of people don't even know that he was a Texan. But no, he wasn't Jewish. He was born into a Mennonite family, didn't ever take to the religion, and became a Presbyterian. That nut, Palsvig, says Churchill was half Jew. Says Churchill's mother was a Jew. That's very common in bigoted right-wing hate sites. They call Churchill a half Jew. Would you be surprised to find out he is not Jewish at all? He's Anglican. Robert Hussey says the KGB has always said the Soviet Union will win the Cold War by infiltrating the U.S. government. They laugh at us for our freedoms. Literally, folks, they laugh at us for our freedoms. They think we are the stupidest people on earth for letting them do what they do. But let's finish talking about Mads Palsvig here. Oh, by the way, Churchill was not half Jewish. It's just a trope that's in the bigoted hate communities. Your average white supremacist believes that. And the reason they believe that is Churchill's father was a guy by the name of Leonard Jerome. Sounds very Jewish, doesn't it? Leonard Jerome. No, he was a Calvinist. He was a Huguenot, actually. If you don't know what that is, I can't help you. But yeah, no. Churchill was an anti-Semite. He was very bigoted, but he saw what happened in World War II, and he became very supportive. He saw what the Germans did. He did. And he became very supportive of Israel because he saw firsthand the reports that you've never read in your life. There are soon elections for the EU. Good. Glad to hear it, Jeanette Doe. But yeah. So anyways, the guy's an idiot. And it wouldn't be a big deal except for two things. One, he's a former banker. And he claims to be a whistleblower on the Jews in the banking industry. Sound familiar? World War II, Hitler's excuses for Jews in the banking industry. But he's also the chairman of the Welstandspartij. Jordan Frihed Kunststadt. Earth or soil, freedom, and knowledge. Yeah, he's the chairman of a political party in Denmark. Earth, freedom, and knowledge. And by earth, they mean like earth as in soil. Trina Longo, which is one of my Danish folks here, I believe Erda is the word for earth, like we use as the proper name, but Jordan means soil. Yeah, that's a problem, folks. This guy is on X. If you want to go look at his stuff, go ahead. But he's posted about a dozen things today, and it's not even lunchtime here. He is a rampant anti-Semite, and he is backed by Putin. Folks, we're at war. We are at war. And the Russians have weaponized information. And they have no ideology, folks. They don't. You know, we talked about that before. We Americans have an Achilles heel. We don't like to be involved in situations where there's no good guy. Putin does not have those qualms. He doesn't. He is more than happy to be on Hamas's side and the bigots. And that's what's happening. It's happening with the Republicans here. And you have Donald Trump and the Republicans in the 2025 Project preaching violence in the churches, preaching overt bigotry about our southern border. It's an invasion. No, it's not. It's just people. And there aren't really that many. There was a peak during when Trump's Title 42. The guy that Putin supports caused a mass flood of immigration during COVID with Title 42. And then his other guy here, Greg Abbott, sued us to keep Title 42 in place. When we got rid of Title 42, immigration calmed down. Went back to just a manageable issue. But Putin's on both sides. I promise you, folks, I promise you, two things are going to happen before this next election. Two things are going to happen. These oil companies that went down to Mar-a-Lago are going to jack your gas prices before this election. I promise you, your gas is going to go up $1 or $2 a gallon before this next election. The Republicans are already spinning the narrative. Biden's attacking the oil industry. I mean, think about all those pins that we just put and how they all tie together. Putin's guy, Trump, they want him in office. They want him in office because he's an imbecile. They win when Trump's in power. They lose when Biden's in power. It's that simple. And they're more than willing to screw their own oil industry temporarily. And then they'll turn around and then after the election and they'll dump oil on the market and kill domestic oil production, because once oil prices get low enough, the Saudis and the Russians have done it to us before. Once oil prices get low enough, American companies cannot compete. They start losing money per barrel. And Putin is more than willing to have his man promise the oil industry pie in the sky. Kitty Carroll says, can't say it enough. Not churches, political institutions run by preachers must be taxed. I agree. But yeah, that's the one thing that's going to happen. These folks are for Trump. They are going to jack your oil prices. I promise you that's going to happen before the election. The other thing that's going to happen is there will be another caravan at the border. Absolutely. The Russians down in Mexico City are working right now. Working right out of their embassy in Mexico City to arrange that next caravan is going to be full of people from Central America, South America. Colombia's hurting right now. They're having huge water problems due to drought. They've got people down there recruiting right now. As we speak, there will be a caravan at the border, and Fox News will know exactly when it's going to get here and where it's going to be exactly. And those kids you see on TikTok that think that they're helping aren't. They're continuing the abuse of the Palestinian people. That's what they're doing. They're attacking Israel because Israel is just like the brown people down at the border. There are so few Jewish people in this world, they've always been able to make them the other. They did the same thing with gypsies in Europe. There's so few of them, they can make them the other. You don't know. You're not in their culture. It's different. They're running the bigots. They're running the abused. And folks, the only way you win this is vote. That's it. That's it. That's the only thing you can do. Destroy the Republican Party. Peter Campbell said dark branded should call their plan out now. Fuel is more expensive in summer anyway because of additives. I agree. Oil companies will gouge us also. Yeah, that's true. Summer blends are always more expensive. What he's talking about there is the flashpoint of fuel. Gasoline has what's called a flash. Every fuel has a flashpoint. Diesel's is very low. You know how you smell gas? You open up the can, you can immediately start smelling the gas. Those are the vapors. That's the point at which a fuel starts to vaporize is called the flash point. Gasoline has a very low flash point. Alcohol has a very low flash point. So to make it more stable and less dangerous, they put additives in it. Summer blends are more expensive because they have to adjust for the higher temperatures. And in the wintertime, the flash point goes down because the colder that fuel is, you'll notice that in the wintertime, you don't smell gasoline like you do normally in the summer. It's not that you've got a stuffy nose or something. It's just that it doesn't fume as much in colder temperatures. So yeah, the gas you buy in summer is different than the gas you buy in the winter. So yes, they're going to jack the prices of gases in the summer because they have to start adding more additives to it. So it just gets more expensive in the summer, naturally. Then at the end of summer, I promise you, something's going to happen. Something somewhere is going to happen. And it's going to be all over the corporate media. And it's going to spell one thing, a shortage of fuel. And we have to raise prices. Forgive me, I'm not quite over my cold yet. That's the war we're fighting, folks. It's a war. It's a war. And fuck Putin. And the worst part is Netanyahu kisses his ass. It's a mess, folks. It's a mess. And the only way we clean it up, I'm going to get this out. The only way we clean it up is we vote. Everybody you know, vote. Destroy the Republicans so that we can destroy Putin. Because we never get peace as long as he's around. Never. There will never be peace. There will always be Hezbollah. There will always be Hamas. There will always be Iran, the antagonist. I can't stress to you enough. Iran does not do what it does because they think they're badass and can stand up to the United States economic and military might and the European economic and military might. They do it because they know Russia's got their back. You can't go to war in Ukraine. You can't. Pardon my expression, but us old fuckers have no business on a battlefield. But you can vote. You can. And I hope you can see very clearly the Democrats are different. We are not the same. The Republicans are more than willing to eat up Putin's propaganda and support. Look at Greg Abbott every damn day. All day. Putin's propaganda. The same shit that they're spewing in Finland right now, folks. The same shit they're spewing in Denmark. The same stuff they're spewing in the Netherlands. They're spewing it in England. They are. The same stuff that brought us Brexit. It wasn't homegrown. It was AstroTurf. Welsh farmers are about to have a revolt because things are so miserable, but they were promised it was going to be Valhalla if they just left the European Union. It was all going to be great. Well, it's not great. They just have shittier trade deals now. So everything that they're asked to do, it just feels that much more oppressive. It all goes back to Putin, man. And if you listen to the right wingers here, they're like, Russia, 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 everything's Russia. Because it fucking is. They're waging an information war, utilizing our own freedoms. And I have to tell you, one of the most brilliant moves, and this is what I'm going to wrap it up with. One of the most brilliant moves that Putin ever did was infiltrating the NRA. Maria Butina did great work for him. Because the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life is that guns are freedom. Folks, this isn't the 1800s. I say it all the time. This isn't the 1850s. There was a time when you having a firearm meant you could defend yourself. You listen to these preppers. Go out and buy you several buckets of this freeze-dried chicken pasta and some water filters and 10,000 rounds of ammunition, and you build you a bunker in your backyard. I'm not even kidding. They're buying up used shipping containers like crazy and burying them in their backyards and calling them bunkers. They think that's a bunker. Preparing for the end times and all of that misinformation. Yeah, Alex Jones, great one there, Steve McLeod. Thank you. Great one, Steve McLeod. Yeah, Alex Jones, he's one of the worst about this. End times, it's coming. It's coming. There's something always coming. But that myth that somehow a gun is freedom. Freedom from what? Freedom from who? Your neighbor? Your neighbor ain't coming. I hate to tell you that. Your neighbor don't care. He don't care. Your neighbor's not coming. And that's about the only thing that AR-15 or AK-47 or anything's good for is your neighbor. Because I guarantee you, if the government wants you dead, you're dead. You are dead. There's going to be a guy in a cubicle in Virginia watching a television screen where a Reaper drone is 30 miles from your house and a missile will end your existence before you even know to go to your bunker. And your AK-47 and your AR-15 ain't going to do crap about that. This is not the 1850s. Our only freedom is our vote. And you're trying to destroy it. You right-wing nutballs, the same people that were told your guns are your freedom, are trying to destroy the one thing left that is actually your freedom, and that is democracy. Your only control over this government is democracy. That's it. And you're trying to destroy it. Show this to your right-wing family. Have them sit down and watch this show. I love you, folks. That's what I've got for you today. I appreciate you being here. Thank you. Do me a favor, hit the thumbs up button. Let's get this out to as many people as humanly possible. Hit the subscribe button, hit the notification button so you know when I got a video coming out, because I'm going to be doing more videos for Midas. I love those guys. I love Midas Touch. I hope you're following Midas Touch. I'm going to be doing more videos on all of my other social media and YouTube that are shorts. They're not full on hour and a half long shows. Let's do it, folks. Let's get this information out. We are at war. And our only weapon is to vote. Let's get it done. I love you, folks. This is Old Texas Paul out. Enjoy some Texas